I'm not really that alarmed about the situation at the El Paso airport. I understand it's being reopened. It was closed for a very short period of time. I'm sure there was something that they were assessing there at the time, and it probably has something to do with Iran. But that, I don't think, at this point, I'm not really that alarmed about it. Although we're talking about national security. I don't know if you remember, but years ago, there were these balloons floating across America, basically towards our military bases, and those probably took pictures. So that's probably what the caution is. On another note, I told you, and I've told you for years, that Democrats are sitting in Republican seats, and now we have on video a Democrat admitting that she ran as a Republican.
I'm not a real Republican. Like, I am telling people the truth. I knock on a door and I say I'm running in the Republican primary, but I'm not a Republican. I'm a progressive. I'm running as a Republican in the Republican primary for Congressional District 14 because that is where the actual competition happens in our gerrymandered district. It happens in the primaries. Like, if you're in a district that is a lock for Democrats, that Democratic primary is where the competition is. And quite frankly, while the can't win strategy is about building for the long term and like building our bench and being ready for fair maps in 2030, we got to fucking win right now.
Sure.
Because we are in an emergency, like a democratic emergency. And so the place I can win is as a fake Republican.
And I can tell over this period of time that when they say corruption, when the Democrats use the word corruption, it only means you are not on our side. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're corrupt, because as you can see in this video from James O'Keefe, this guy who pretends that he's a whistleblower for the FBI is talking about how he infiltrated basically Project Veritas when James O'Keefe was the CEO of Project Veritas, and how he was informing. He calls it whistleblowing and that kind of thing, like I've given them so much information. He was informing the FBI, the IRS, and probably CIA or whatever. So he was a mole, he was a plant, and that's all there is to it. Just trying to figure out what James O'Keefe is doing and, how they're going to stop him from doing what he's doing. It's almost the same exact thing as what's happening around Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk. So watch this video. And although I am not a fan of Candace Owen, I will say that some of the things that she's saying are absolutely true. I absolutely believe that Erica Kirk was groomed to marry Charlie Kirk, infiltrate the organization, take it over, and turn it to a billion-dollar company that is more in line with Republicans. Because if you have been taking any kind of stock in what's happening at all, you will understand the Democrats and Republicans have one goal, and that is to control you. However it is that you're going to bend the knee and do what you're told, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, that's exactly what they're doing. So don't think for 1 second that this thing that's happening with Turning Point USA is organic in any way. I absolutely believe that Erica Kirk is and always has been a plant.
I was carrying everywhere I go.
Where?
Here.
Okay.
But that was not because of local, that was because of the bullshit I was getting nationally.
Oh, what bullshit?
The O'Keefe stuff.
What happened? Like, why were you worried? Like, death threats?
Oh yeah, tons. I was talking to the FBI every week. I became an enemy of the mainstream right. I helped build a lot of these people. Gavin Wax from the New York Republicans, Benny Johnson. I used to host him all the time. Charlie I've known since he was 19. I dislike Charlie because he was totally corrupt. Even the righties, they're corrupt.
I also have to show you this video of this ridiculous sheriff, which tells you everything that I have been saying about the sheriffs and the law enforcement, the dumbing down, the absolute ineptness that we're finding in law enforcement. And this is supposed to be somebody who is a decorated sheriff, has no clue about what branch of government he's under, and doesn't even know what the branches of government are.
If I were to classify your position as the highest law enforcement officer in the county, would that be a fair description?
That's correct.
Okay. And as such, you made reference earlier that you're a constitutional office. My colleague made reference that there are constitutional divisions amongst responsibilities between us and you. What branch of government do you operate under?
Mecklenburg County.
What branch of government do you operate under, Sheriff?
Constitution of the United States.
Correct. That is what establishes the branches of government. I'm asking which branch you fall under.
Mecklenburg County. I'm a duly sworn Mecklenburg County Sheriff. We answer to the people of Mecklenburg County.
This was not where I was anticipating getting stuck. Are you aware of how many branches of government there are?
No.
Okay. For the sake of debate, I will move on and say there are 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial. Of those 3, which do you believe you fall under?
I believe I fall under the last one.
Would you say it to me?
Judicial.
Okay. You are incorrect, sir. You fall under the executive.
That was a totally ridiculous, Sheriff. And I hope if you are in that particular county, you get a different sheriff. You should be doing everything you can to get this guy out of office. I'm just going to say a super quick word about what's going on around the country. All this stuff with ICE is just a distraction from the voting system, from trying to take over different entities. You know, I've said before that I'm not all in on Trump, and I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Maybe it never will. But at this point, I think you've got to be very well aware of what's going on around you, because things could change very quickly. I want you to watch this video because this guy is testifying about the voting system, and there's over 37,000 people who voted, and they're dead.
I witnessed personally. The following are only a few of the most egregious items witnessed. I was not allowed to perform my job, and from what I observed, were any of the GOP challengers in accordance with Michigan laws. We were constantly prevented from getting close enough to see what was going on with the with respect to the ballots. Procedures were not being properly followed. When we brought these to the attention of the supervisors, our concerns were dismissed and ignored. We observed ballots being backdated from 11/4 to 11/2, and data being entered into the computers for these mail-in ballots. Poll workers were entering ballot information from new mail-in ballots, including dates of birth of 1/1/1900, into the electronic poll books and processing those ballots for tabulation. The information wasn't in either the electronic poll book or the paper supplement book prior to that. There's been lots and lots of reports after the election counting process. First of all, I did email a copy of what I'm reading from to each of the Republican senators and the House of Representative members. So I'd be happy to provide this to you. Dead people were voting. I sent a website to that effect, and the list that they had up to that date was 17,327 randomly checked Michigan voters that were registered for voting and were above the age of 80. Every name on this list has voted in the 2020 election. Check for yourself, and has also been found in one or more of the obituaries online. This is the most important election in my lifetime, and I think the most important election in the history of our republic. Every legislator, whether seated in the House or the Senate, whether Democrat or Republican, took an oath to defend the U.S. and state constitutions of the U.S. and Michigan against enemies both foreign and domestic. Time is of the essence, and now is the time to fulfill that oath. Despite what the media is telling everyone, there are mountains of evidence that voter fraud occurred on a massive scale, the likes of which we've never witnessed in the country.
For the America Matters radio show, I'm April Lejeune, and I'll see you next time.